In this session we're having a look at HCFs and LCMs. Okay, let's look at HCFs first. HCF is short for highest common factor. Okay. And essentially we're looking for the biggest common factor amongst two or more numbers. The steps we will use will be, first step, we list the factors of each number. Second step, we find the largest or highest, which is where HCF gets its name from, highest common factor, number that appears in all lists of factors. Okay, so let's have a look at this in action. So suppose we needed to find the highest common factor of 10 and 12. So step 1 is to list the factors of both the 10 and the 12. Okay, factors of 10, 1, 2, 5 and 10. Factors of 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. Okay. Now, just looking at these two lists of factors, I can see that the common factors are 1, because it appears in both lists, and 2, which also appears in both lists. No other number appears in both lists. So the common factors between 10 and 12 will have to be the 1 as well as the 2. Now, out of the common factors, and this is where step 2 comes in, we want to find the highest number or the largest one. So out of 1 and 2, obviously 2 is larger. Okay, so here we pick the largest common number that appears in both of the lists. So we can say that the highest common factor in this case is 2. Okay, let's just do one more example. Suppose we need to find the highest common factor of 16, 24 and 32. Okay, so we start off by listing the factors of each of these numbers. So for 16 it will be 1, 2, 4, let's see, 8 and 16. For 24 it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and then 12 and 24. And for 32, its factors are 1, 2, 4, and 8, then 16 and 32. Now, comparing all three lists now, okay, we've got 1 as a common factor. We've got 2 as a common factor. We have, let's see, 4 as a common factor. We also have 8 as a common factor. Okay, those are all the common factors. In this case, the highest common factor then would have to be 8. In other words, 8 is the largest number that appears in all three lists. So that's the highest common factor. Now let's have a look at the other acronym there, okay, which was LCM. So LCM, this stands for lowest common multiple. Okay, again we follow a couple of steps here. 1, we will list a few multiples of each number. Okay, so in this time obviously we're going to be looking for multiples, and we'll be looking for not just the common ones but the lowest one. Okay, so here step 2 will be to find the smallest or lowest number appearing in all lists. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. Suppose we needed to find the lowest common multiple of 20 and 50. Okay, so first step is to just list some of the multiples of each of those numbers. Okay, so remember, it is not an exact list when it comes to listing multiples. By rule of habit, we tend to list around about 5 or 6 of them to see where that will lead us. So to start off with, I'm just listing some of the multiples of 20. So 20 times 1, 20 times 2, times 3, and so on. Okay, so there's my list of multiples of 20. Do the same thing for 50. So multiples of 50, we're talking 50, 100, 150, 200, and so on. Okay, now I can see, comparing the two lists, the common numbers here, 100 would be a common factor, a common multiple. I haven't listed any more of the multiples, but surely there will be more. For instance, 200 here, which is a multiple of 50, surely will appear in the multiples of 20 as well. Okay, but remember, we're looking for the lowest common multiple, so in other words, the first number really that is common to both of those lists. So in this case, the lowest common multiple of 20 and 50 is 100. Okay, let's have a look at just one more example. Suppose we want lowest common multiple of 6, 8, and 12. So this time we've got 3 numbers to deal with. Let's list a few of the multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and so on. Okay, and 12, 24, 36, and so on. Okay, now comparing all 3 of those lists, the first number that appears in all of these 3 lists that are common will be 24, making the LCM in this case 24. So there we have HCFs and LCMs.